So Molly will give me. Good morning, everyone, and I'm Nathan from 100% Optical, and welcome back to 100% Optical Online. I'm joined by another Nathan from Opticommerce, who I'll introduce you to in a minute. So hi, Nathan, how you doing?
Hi, guys. Good, thanks.
Good. Before you start, Nathan, I'm just going to explain to people about the platform. If you're new to this session, it's worth knowing that you can connect with all the suppliers on here and book meetings. So there's lots of great new products and a good assortment of companies on here as well. So please do use that, and you can even have video meetings on there as well. So yeah, on to today, Nathan. Thank you for joining us. Nathan Potts is the Digital Development Manager from Opticommerce, and you're going to be looking at talking to us about marketing your practice digitally. Obviously, in this virtual world that we're in, all of us online much more than we used to be, and I think it will stay that way. This is a really important subject. So, Nathan, I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation. At the end, we'll come back for some questions. So if people want to use the live discussion box to do the questions, I'll put those to you at the end. So, Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Nathan. That's not confusing in the slightest from Nathan to Nathan, is it? Let me just share my screen here and we'll get underway, guys. There we go. And we should be live. Excellent. So, hello, everybody. Many thanks for joining our presentation today. As Nathan said, we're going to be going through bricks to clicks, marketing your practice digitally. So Nathan's given us a little bit of a brief introduction there, but I'd just like to give you a little bit more into myself and Opticommerce. So, my name is Nathan Potts. I'm one of the UK account managers looking after our digital marketing clients here at Opticommerce. Opticommerce, we fundamentally provide a done-for-you solution when it comes to websites and digital marketing, but specifically for the optical practices in the optical industry. We're established in 2008, so we've got a long history of success and experience with the optical industry and digital marketing. And over that time, we've built a team of around about 30 experts across multiple different fields. And we've actually managed to gain clients across 10 different countries with a multitude and array of different languages. And then just coming back to that point again, I think most importantly, that we are solely dedicated to the optical practices in the industry. And we have been since we were first established. Again, there's a large amount of experience. We're also a certified trusted Google partner, which just means that we've met certain standards and different criteria, enables us to display our Google badge, which we're very, very proud of. So, you're dealing with some credible people. Now, the services that we provide are websites for optical practices, but also e-commerce websites. So actually enabling customers to purchase frames through your website, different digital marketing solutions, and also omni-channel or customer journey solutions within that. So what I'm here to talk to you about today is actually marketing your practice digitally. Now, people that are attending today might be at different stages of that journey. You might have some digital marketing in place and you're looking to improve that, or you might be looking to actually start marketing your practice digitally. So the best place for us to start is just having a look at why it's so important for practices to look at their digital marketing. So if you have a look at some data from Google, we can actually see that people's buying decisions largely get made through online research before they actually enter a store. So if we have a look at back in 2011, you can see in the light blue that 60% of somebody's purchasing decision was made before they entered the store through online research, and actually only 40% was made when they get to the store. Fast forward to 2016, you can see that 88%, quite scarily, of that buying decision, if they're going to purchase from you or somebody else, and what they're going to purchase, 88% of that decision was made before they even get to the store. And only 12% of that buying decision is made when they're actually in the store. So we can start to see there, because of different reasons, such as, the incorporation of internet-ready devices, such as mobiles, people are importantly not only researching what they're going to purchase online before they come to the store, but actually they're making their decision to who, why, and when to purchase that from largely on online research before they even get to a bricks and mortar store. So that was back in 2016. If we skip ahead to some more up-to-date data from 2020, we can take a look at the amount of people who are actually using online research to support that in-store purchase, which, as you can see from the statistics here, was 84% of shoppers use an online resource to actually support a purchase that they make in store before they do so. Now, I think the most important thing or interesting thing for us as an optical industry within this set of data is that we can see that this increase of up to 84% of people is actually largely made up or is pushed by a demographic of people over the age of 45, which, as we all know, is a key target market for our optical practices, especially that we work with, as we're getting into people being presbyopes. They're people that are concerned and worried about their eye health, but they're also actually wanting to spend good money on their frames, spectacles, and their lenses. So in summary, what this is telling us is not only that there are more people using online research to support an in-store bricks and mortar purchase, but actually people of an older demographic are largely leading that increase. So we would suggest, this is a really compelling reason to either start marketing your practice digitally, and if you are already, then actually taking a step back and having a look to make sure that you're in the best position possible. And that's what we'll kind of touch on and start having a look at today. So then again, if we fast forward again to modern day, we can actually see some stats on just the increasing amount of money that is being spent through e-commerce, or e-commerce being people who are making purchases and monetary interactions or transactions through websites. And actually see funny through this data, it's really nice looking at it. You can see and cross-reference it, just the increases. You can see the large spikes each year from the Christmas period. Now, you'll probably already, if not consciously, subconsciously, be aware that the pandemic of COVID-19 has had a large effect and caused an increase in people actually making purchases online. Now, this can be looked at and actually seen that that's driven by the fact that people's normal routes to purchase, i.e. going to the high street, was no longer there through restrictions, but actually is also being largely affected by people's insecurities and fears of actually traveling out and going to the shops when it can be easier just to purchase online. We can have a look at that as well. Not only that there is a gradual increase from 2016 right up to before the pandemic, but we can see that from the pandemic, there is a direct effect on the amount of monetary value that's going through online purchases recently. So how does this equate to us as an optical industry? Well, I would argue, and we argue at Opticommerce, that this also has a direct effect on our industry and people looking to purchase. So if people from looking at other industries are actually looking to, but I think very importantly, actually come to expect that they can make their purchase online more than ever, then we need to at least look at to see if that's something that our current and new customers want from us. But again, very importantly, that do they expect that from us? And does your competition have that? Are you losing out on sales by having or not by having that in place? Now, I'm sure everybody has been on a multitude of many webinars around how COVID-19 has affected the optical industry. But what I'd like to show you here is just how that pandemic has affected how many people are actually searching specifically in the UK for optical services and people searching online. And we can see on this Google Trends graph that around the key timeline of the pandemic, there is a huge increase in people searching for eye exams. Again, very much like with the purchasing online or the e-commerce, their usual channels of people actually getting their eye exams is restricted, whether that's down to lockdowns. There is a very apparent increase that we can see that's highlighted in the orange box, but also what we're seeing at the tail end of that, even though that we're coming out of lockdowns, that behavior is there to stay. It's not tailing off. That increase has stayed a lot higher than what it was in June 2019. So to summarize that, so more and more people are searching online specifically for the services and the products that you guys as optical practices provide. And that behavior, as far as we can see, is here to stay. Not only has it increased, but that's here to stay. Again, that just highlights to our clients and all optical practices really, just the importance of what your online presence is and your marketing, and should at least be having a look at what that is, if not taking action upon it at the moment. Again, if you look at some specific terms that people are actually looking for, again, in the UK, specific to the optical industry, some of the ones that have had the largest increase, we've seen 120% increase. And people, compared to 2019 to 2020, we see there's a 120% increase in people looking online to find an eye exam near them. And I think, not surprisingly, that there was a 5,000% increase. Now, a 5,000% increase to Google is something what we call is a breakout, where we can't actually measure it. It's so high that we can't measure above 5,000%. So there's a 5,000% increase in people searching for if and when, if opticians are open or when they will be open. And I think what we're looking at here is not necessarily the levels of interest, which is what we looked at the trend graph before, but here we're looking at the levels of, not the increases, we're looking at the level of interest, the shift of more people looking online for optical services in the UK right now. And, I think really importantly is the question to ask yourself, are you there and have you got a good presence when these people and the increase in people are actually looking for you? So throughout these times of what we would call disruption and uncertainty, what we really need to do is, for your new and returning customers, is give them as much help as possible navigating that new messy journey before they are purchasing from you. So if we know more and more people are looking for you online before they're coming into your practice, are we doing everything that we can before they get there? So even before COVID, more and more people, and as we said, an older demographic, were not only searching for, but actually making a decision what and who to purchase something off online before they even got to your bricks and mortar store. So this kind of wraps up the first element of our presentation. So why is it so important for optical practices? Just to first ensure that, to make sure that they are marketing themselves digitally, but also, if you are already doing so, ensure that that message and the purchasing journey that people are on before they get to you, that you understand that and ensure that it is as good as it can be. So what can we actually do to ensure that that is as good as it can be? Now, there's a multitude of ones, and obviously we've only got a set amount of time today. It should just spark your interest into having a look into it, and by all means get in touch with us afterwards and ask questions, or get in touch, or arrange a meeting with ourselves. There's a multitude of different ones, but we've kind of broke it down into different sections, and one is digital marketing, being there when people are looking for you directly or the services that you provide online, but also then is, ultimately their destination majority of the time when they're researching you will be your website. So what can we do on these two key elements to make sure that they're in the best position possible? So again, most importantly, if the majority of people who are researching you online, that research tends to be done on your website or things like your reviews. So things that we should consider when it actually comes to your website to make sure in the best possible position is it clear and concise and informative? Again, ultimately through research, what are we looking through research? We're looking for answers to a question. So our users, when you look at your website and when users go to your website, are they able to get the information that they want and answer the questions about you, or to get in touch with you easily? And then that increases, the perception of yourselves. Is your website up to date and modern? The majority of the clients that come on board with ourselves will have a sub-satisfactory website that is, 5 to 6 years old. So the thing to think about here is, when somebody steps into your practice and you have a great range of frames, you've got really good modern equipment and amazing customer service, does your website have the same look and feel as when you're in practice? And maybe it's even a more simpler way is as if I was stood outside of your practice with your sign and your branding and your logo, does that website, when I first hit it within the first couple of seconds, give me the same feel as if I was stood outside of your practice? And then does it have engaging content like professional videos on there where you can actually speak to people and create that credibility on there? And also, this is a big one, especially for clients coming on board to us, is the content that's on that website up to date? You know, content on there about eye care and eye health, what's happening in the industry, and other relevant subjects. I would say 99% of all the clients that we work with are what we would call subject matter experts, where you guys are the dispensing opticians, you are the optometrists, you have all this wealth of information, and you are actually able to portray that very easily that you are subject matter experts through your website. So why would you not do that through the content that's on there? And as well, do you have high resolution relevant imagery? Can you, or there is a very easy way to create that familiarity and especially at the moment, that higher level of assurance with new and current customers by putting up good pictures of your practice if you've got good outfits in the practice, but also as well, how things have changed with COVID. Have you put up pictures and information there of the measures that you've put in place to ensure that your customers are going to be well cared for when they come in? All of these different factors actually subconsciously to customers create a perception of you online. Now, we already spoke about at the start, we know that a lot of people's perception and actually the decision whether they're going to purchase from you or what they're going to purchase from you is made up before they get to your store. And this is where you can make the biggest impact is your website. So you really owe it to yourself to ensure that it's in the best possible position. So really to summarize with the website, if someone's looking at your website before they even come into your store, am I as a new customer able to get a sense about who you are, what you're about, and give them the right impression, which should then lead them on to contacting you for either an eye exam or making a purchase from you. Now, further from that, if we're looking to aid people, new and returning customers, through that messy journey, um, where people are on your website, that journey before they actually come to you, we can actually help them massively with different website features and give them that best experience on your website possible. So some of the more common ones that we've actually been implementing for our website clients are online bookings. So allowing users to book their either eye exams or um, different clinical exams, or actually just a frames consultation through your website directly into your practice management software. Now, where we've seen this work massively well is especially down through lockdown and things where people were worried about it, or you've got when we're coming out of lockdown where you've got a restricted amount of staff, people weren't able to get the phones, people actually being able to book their appointment directly through your website worked very, very, very well for our clients. And then also a catalog. So a catalog or showcasing the frames or the range of frames that you have online. And obviously, again, because we've been restricted throughout lockdowns and people not being able to just walk in off the store, actually showing people the different frames that you offer through a catalog online so people can browse those before they even come in line. And actually, what we find with clients that we implement this for, they start to get a lot of inquiries for people who aren't necessarily a current customer of theirs. They're just looking for that specific frame, and you start getting frame or range inquiries directly to yourselves. And then, as well, further on from that, is again through restrictions and lockdown. Once you've got the catalog, actually letting people try that frame on virtually. You know, from the comfort of either their own home, through their mobile device, or through their webcam. So we do have the technology at the moment to actually allow people to virtually try that frame on their face, and it's live time as well. So people, as they actually move their face, the frame stays on their face, and they can make a decision whether they like that or not, and then choose to get in touch with you. And then throughout that, there's one big thing from a lot of websites at the moment that's missing, and is that when people are on this journey, excuse me, is actually being able to make that purchase online. And we've had a look at that data very quickly before, is and discussed that it's very important that with other industries, there's a large increase in people actually spending money and expecting to be able to make purchases online. So, have a look into if for your practice specifically and your customer base, do you have or do you need the ability to allow people to purchase not only just frames, but actually prescription frames. So entering their prescription and getting that sent out to them without even having to come into the practice. Okay. And again, we've seen a large increase in that or uptake of that throughout lockdown and through the disruption of COVID-19. And actually, a lot of our clients, when their practice was closed, it didn't necessarily mean that they were closed for business. They could still have a diverse revenue source. And then also with that, that's just for prescription frames, but there's also all the added extras, the wipes and solutions, but also a massive uptake at the moment of actually being able to sell contact lenses online as well, e-commerce through your store. And then virtual consultations as well. So an added feature where, again, we've seen a large increase uptake, especially from our clients, is actually having a virtual consultation and talking to new and their returning customers virtually, very much like what we are now through this virtual webinar, but actually instead of just using a Zoom call, having a professional platform that you can book in a appointment with that customer and then actually go through the full purchasing journey, everything but the eye exam. So if you can imagine having your dispensing optician go through your full range of frames, so your catalog, allowing people to try those on virtually through a two-way conversation with your dispensing optician, making that recommendation, and then actually through that platform, we have the technology to actually take the payment before people actually go away. So that increases your conversion rate. Again, all about ensuring that you are as proficient as you are, but also as proficient as you can be, sorry. But also if people are coming to expect these levels of technology from other industries and your competitors, please do have a look into if this is something that you can implement where you can because it's available now. But if this is something that is applicable to your customers as well. There are many different elements that we've come to understand, through our expertise and experience of what actually makes a good website. And especially the number one is just the look and feel of the website. And now the best part or the best place for you to start is have a look at your competitors' websites, have a look at other other optical practices websites, get a look and feel for it. And then think about what your tone and what you want to be portrayed as. And also as well, by all means, have a look at the websites that we actually develop for our clients. So we've got a range of new ones that we've developed for our clients here, but we do have hundreds where we've got Andrew Fletcher, or eye care, we've got Kenyan Opticians, Jewel and Payne, Nizier Optics, Specs Express Opticians. But actually the best thing for you probably is if this is something that you're interested in looking at, is drop us a message afterwards, get in touch with us, and we will be happy to share a multitude of different links to the websites that we've developed. And I think that we're very, very proud of, that we can show you the difference between a good website and maybe a sub-satisfactory website. And you should be able to get the look and feel from that straight away. So having a website and a good website is very important. But actually, we use an analogy here at Opticommerce all the time of having a website on its own without anything else is very much like a sailing boat, but with no sails. You need something to be able to generate that movement towards your website. And the sails to a boat, but for a website, is actually digital marketing. So without marketing your website, you're only ever going to be able to generate or get people to your website who happen to chance upon you, or if you have your returning customers are coming to you directly. Now, the interesting thing is that you will be at a large disadvantage if your competitors are actively or proactively marketing their website, as they will be getting the majority of people come through there. And I think this is a good point to step back and take. We already know from the data, and probably even yourselves as well, subconsciously, that we know that there's an ever growing amount of people that are looking before they even get in touch or purchase from you online. So how do we actually capture those people and that potential when people are looking for you? So for our clients, we proactively, what we call, pull people and push new and returning customers to their website. Now that's to research it, but also, especially with marketing, has a very strong impact of actually getting people to make purchases through e-commerce, or the goal at the end of the day is actually to push them to get people to get in touch with you and get bums on the seats and get eye exams. So how do we do it? We take what we call is a multi-channel approach. So not just one channel. So we look at implementing for our clients. We do Google paid adverts. These are the adverts that come at the top of the page when somebody's looking for a specific keyword, and we actively manage that for our clients. And then secondly is underneath that, you will have your organic listings. Now, how you A, show up within those listings, but B, ensure that you are there consistently is through SEO, or search engine optimization. So optimizing your website to ensure that you appear within the organic listings. So a good example of these two put together, of Google Ads and SEO, is somebody, as we've seen before, an increased people looking for eye exams, is an eye exam. Someone types in eye exam near me, you would have your Google ads show at the top of the page talking about yourself. And then underneath that, you would then also, on a search platform such as Google, have your ranking for your SEO or the organic listing there as well. Now, what we can see from why we use both of these in conjunction with each other is a lot of people come to us and say, yeah, a lot of people don't click on the adverts. That's correct. But actually, your competitors, your competitors will be there, and that's pushing you down the page. But B, there's a certified 45% increase in likelihood that someone will click on your SEO ranking if you have a Google Ads, just because they've subconsciously seen you at the top of your page. Then we also create blogs for our clients. So that's giving that, where we said in terms of ensuring that you've got relevant, up-to-date information on your website, giving people that help massively in terms of giving them the right content that's up to date. Keeping that up to date is how we do it through blogs, but also by keeping that up to date with good content, then that actually helps us massively with our SEO or our search engine optimization by having that. And that content that's in the blogs tends to show up in the organic listings, and that's where people can get a lot of their answers, whether that be about a specific frame range that you've got in stock, or a specific frame, or how you've changed in practice, or we also dedicate those to clinical services as well. And I would say the majority of the clients that we bring on board will be doing some form of social media. So for Facebook, for example, your organic side of Facebook, so that means non-paid, is, what are you posting in terms of how frequently are you posting and the content that's out there. So for our clients, what we do is we manage those posts for them. We provide all of the content and we provide the imagery. But for yourselves, as a bare minimum, we need to be having a look at planning it, posting at least twice a week. Now, what that means is it's keeping the people that have liked your page, is keeping them engaged, keeping them up to date with what it is. But also when new people are looking for you, and there's been a large increase recently of people actually searching for services specifically through Facebook, is when you're there, is people get the right idea of you through your organic posts. But also then, as well as Facebook ads are massively important, ensuring that you're actually going out of your comfort zone, making sure that you haven't got a stale following, making people that are outside of the people who follow you on Facebook, you're getting new people into that are aware of your practice and your services. And the same goes with Instagram, organically and paid. And I would say one of the most important ones here, especially for an independent optical practice, is your local SEO or your local search engine optimization, which is done massively through your Google My Business. Now, through your Google My Business, a brief overview of it is that you're actually able to show locally when somebody is searching for not just you specifically, but when somebody's searching for, say, an eye exam or a product or service that you have in your local area, as well as your organic ranking, your paid ranking on Google, your business, your Google My Business will show in the search results. And as people are aware of these days, when people are looking on Google Maps, is massively important. And that's how you control your local SEO, is actually through your Google My Business. Now, all of those above as a very, very brief overview of these. And again, please do get in touch or ask any questions at the end about these. Lots of people have lots of specific ones. That's a very, very quick overview of those. But there's much more that goes into these. But we could probably do an hour's presentation on each one. So please do get in touch if you've got any questions. And I think as well, lastly on these, is it's very important to tie all of these together and have all of that data and all that wealth of information running through some form of analytics and reporting, so you know what is working well and what is not working well, so you're not wasting your time and your money. And then lastly is, why do we do so many different platforms? Well, we use another analogy in marketing, is that there's no silver bullet. There's no one platform that works really well over other ones. That's probably the key question that we get a lot. So what we look at doing is we actually look at the customer journey and where we can apply those different platforms. So ultimately, when somebody comes to purchase something off of us, we need to create awareness. We need to make people aware that we're here. We need to be able to be findable, if that's a word. We need to be able to make sure that we're showing up when people are searching for us. And then the research in terms of when they're looking or considering of us. And then if someone's just looking to purchase, and each of these key elements, as you can see below, each different platform has its own place. So you can see when people are searching for us, we need to show up on organic search, on PPC, on maps, on directories, on apps. So for each one of these, we need to make sure that we have a presence, and a good presence, as well as then afterwards, the advocacy or experience is your current customers or new customers that have purchased from you already. How do you then market to those people specifically to make sure that they are retained customer? And as you can see here, the likes of social posts, the written reviews and blogs and word of mouth work very, very well. So it's about us understanding that and then employing that as a strategy for our customers, but also for yourselves. I think the main thing is to have a look at this, have a look what you have at the moment in terms of each part of the customer journey online and on your website, and just make sure that it is in the best position possible for yourselves, just to make sure that you're not missing out. And I think that is about us for today, as concise as we can get it, down to 20 minutes or so. And I think we're going to open up to any questions, Nathan.
Yes, definitely. So thank you very much for that, Nathan. That was really, really interesting. And yeah, I mean, it's, I guess more important now than ever before that your website and your digital activity is up to scratch, really. So before we take questions from, if the audience want to put their questions in the box now, that would be great. There's one that came up as you were talking, was around the future trends, really. I mean, obviously we're now coming out of lockdown, people are getting back on the streets and so on, but do you think something's fundamentally changed now, and what do you think is going to become the new base level in terms of the amount of people who go online to shop?
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good question, and a really important question. We didn't have the time to go through it, but in some of our other webinars, we've actually done a bit of research in terms of how people's behaviors changed in the past and how they've changed. And if you have a look at some psychological research, you can tell that it only takes around about 60 days of a new repetitive behavior to become normal behavior. So we've been through 3 lockdowns now, which is more than a month's worth of behavior. So what that research has shown us is that this is here to stay. This is now the new normality of people expecting a higher level of service online, expecting to be able to purchase online, and actually the searching online, as we've seen before, is actually being driven by a lot of people's insecurities about can I go out? Can I do this? And is this available? So in the short term, the changes are, as we come out of this, is going to be, are you there and answering the questions for people online when they're looking for it? But I think long term is everything that we've learned through lockdown is that this was always coming. And we've seen since 2016 that there's been a slow growth online, but this has been a massive catalyst to get a lot of people to actually increase the amount of people online. And that's what happened in the optical industry. We were maybe behind a little bit before. We were like 3 or 4 years behind other companies. I think this has caused a massive catalyst for a lot of people to get online and at least have a look at how you show up online for your website and your digital marketing. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Yeah, I've heard somewhere, and I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that people think this has pushed that forward 5 years. Would you say that's about right?
Yeah, if not more. If you think about it, and if we look at the optical industry specifically, if we were 3 or 4 years behind anyway, you know, you've got the big runners, you've got say like Google, Facebook are right at the tip of the iceberg, and then you've got the big nationals are just a year behind them. If especially the independent practices are 3 to 4 years behind them, but then you know that's pushed our customers 5 years ahead of that. A lot of people are now behind the curve, you know, 7, 10 years behind the digital curve. So there's a lot of catching up to do. And I think the main thing is we're not expecting you to do this all on your own. There's, you know, aside from us offering a service, there's so much help out there from, you know, the industry manufacturers through, you know, things like this, through webinars, and just get out there and start talking to people and asking questions and asking for help. Don't expect to do it all on your own.
Cool. And a question about websites. What what would your advice be on how often you should refresh or redesign your website?
Yeah, the very, very easy answer, as often as you can afford to. If you look at the big companies, they will change theirs, you know, every 1 to 2 years, or they will actively never stop changing them. The short term is ensuring that that content is up to date in terms of the actual layout of everything. Then you need to ensure that that's up to date at least every 2 to 3 years, which is what we do for our clients. So they tend to have a website for 2 to 3 years, and then as we get to that, it actually needs a redesign. But it's very much like if you can put it towards technology of new TVs, you could buy a new TV today, and then in a week's time, a brand new piece of technology is going to come out. So I think that the important thing is actually keeping your ear to the grindstone and see what's actually new. And again, you know, if you've got a good web development company such as ours, then they should take care of that for you.
Yeah, cool. And one thing I was also going to ask you is, do you help companies with like retargeting advertising? So if someone, you know, I'm in Loughton at the moment, if I'm on my computer at lunchtime looking at sunglasses, you know, what can you then do to is there ways you can help a local optician reach me?
Yeah. It's the good thing is that Google and Facebook are very open with sharing very, very high levels of sophisticated technology with large companies, big multinational companies, to the very smallest of companies. So as you say, things like remarketing, or, you know, targeting specific user groups. So, you know, targeting, we run adverts for maybe independent optical practices who do clinical services like school vision or visual stress, and we're actually able to target specific parents in specific areas, ensuring that the budget is used efficiently. But in terms of remarketing adverts, once you've got that audience build up and you know who you're going to go after, it's actually very simple in terms of looking at it and saying, right, who are we going to target that with? The actual setting that up is pretty, you know, making it sound a little bit easy, but actually in the back end, that's actually really difficult to try and set that up and remarket into people and things like that. But yeah, absolutely. Anything that's available through digital marketing, we actively take care. And over, you know, having done it for 12 to 13 years now, there's very little that is out there that we haven't come across. I think we owe it to ourselves as well as an agency. We're always at the forefront. We're always talking, you know, we've got reps at Google that we talk to. We've got people that are industry leaders that we're talking to, and actually letting that information and technology filter down into our clients in the optical industry as well.
Brilliant. Okay. Last question. And what's the kind of biggest sort of mistake you see opticians doing in terms of social media or their digital marketing?
In terms of the digital marketing, is maybe putting all of your eggs in one basket and expecting it to work. And maybe on the edge of that is flip-flopping a little bit too much. So we speak to a lot of people who says, yeah, I've tried that, and I tried it for a month and it never worked. When we actively manage things, it's about ensuring, number one, you have the best practice, everything that you could possibly be doing. Doing as much as you can without spreading yourself too thin. So like I said, there's no silver bullet to digital marketing. Just because you're on Facebook doesn't mean you're naturally going to get new customers through Facebook, because that journey of people could be that someone's seen you on Facebook, and as you said with the remarketing there, Nathan, somebody could be searching for you a week later. They've been made aware of you through Facebook, but they're going to search for you a week later on Google and you're not there. So it's not about lumping it in one basket. It's having, without spreading yourself too thin, going across as many platforms as possible and then actively managing that. And I think off the back of it, where we said about the reporting and analytics, is not wasting money. And I know that sounds a bit daft, but the amount of clients that come to us and say, yeah, I don't want to do this, I want to do that, because I've actually wasted my money, end up spending twice. So actually having visibility on, is it even working for you? Are you spending 3 or 4 hours a week or 3 or 4 hours a month creating organic Facebook posts that aren't reaching anybody? Ultimately times a lot of money in the optical industry, with a lot of people owning their own practices. So yeah, ensure that your money's well spent. Ensure that you're not just lumping your eggs into one basket.
Brilliant. Well, that's great. Thank you very much, Nathan. And really lots of very interesting points. And are you available all day today on the platform if people want to try and catch you?
Here all day. I'd love to speak to anybody if they want to talk a little bit more about this, or if we've got any other questions, websites or digital marketing related. Yes, I am here all day.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, everyone. And I think we've got a fashion show at 12:30. If you haven't seen it, please do have a look at that. All the eyewear is on here as well from that show. And we'll see you then.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks.